Hello, konnichiwa, I'm Sakura. In this video, we're diving into the romance side of Demon Slayer. Yeah, I know. It's not exactly a love story kind of anime, right? But here's the deal. Even though romance isn't front and center, there are actually some low-key love connections happening behind the scenes. Some characters are secretly crushing on others, and you'd totally miss it unless you dig into the lore. And guess what? In some cases, those hidden feelings even become a huge reason why they fight so hard. So if you're ready to go deeper into the emotional side of the Demon Slayer universe, you're in the right place. Oh, and quick heads up, near the end of this video, I'll be talking about scenes from the final volume of the manga. So if you're trying to avoid endgame spoilers, consider this your warning. Alright, let's get into it. First up, let's talk about Tanjiro and Kanao, the two Demon Slayer Corps rookies who started out together. Their very first meeting was during the final selection at Mount Fujikasame, but honestly, they didn't even talk. Back then, Kanao was completely closed off emotionally because of the abuse she suffered growing up. She didn't speak, not just to Tanjiro, but to anyone. Their real connection starts a little later, when Tanjiro gets injured and ends up recovering at the Butterfly Mansion. After finishing his training, he goes to thank Kanao. And here's where things shift. Tanjiro notices that Kanao can't make decisions on her own, so he gently tells her, "Try listening to your own heart, and live by that." That moment hit her. From then on, Kanao slowly begins to open up, not just to Tanjiro, but to the world around her. And yeah, she starts to catch feelings. Later on, after the brutal fight with upper rank 6, when Tanjiro wakes up back at the Butterfly Mansion, there are tears in Kanao's eyes, like real emotion. It's one of the first times we truly see her care that deeply. So what happens next? How far do Kanao's feelings for Tanjiro go? Stick around, we're just getting started. Next up, let's talk about the most obvious romance in the entire series, Zenitsu and Nezuko. From the moment Zenitsu meets Tanjiro at the Butterfly Mansion, he senses a demon inside that mysterious wooden box. But instead of freaking out, he decides to trust Tanjiro and protect it. And when he finally finds out that Nezuko is inside, boom, instant love. He falls hard. Like, I'd die for Nezuko-chan levels of simping. From that point on, Zenitsu is 1000% ride or die for her. He charges into Spider Mountain just because he's worried about her. He tries to talk to her through the box at the Butterfly Mansion. And in his dream during the Mugen train arc? Yup, he's holding hands with her, going on a full-on date. Total wish fulfillment mode, and it doesn't stop there. In real life, he shields her in battle, finally gets that long-awaited lap pillow, and constantly yells, "I'll protect Nezuko-chan," mid-fight while blasting off with Thunderclap and Flash. Even that scene where he desperately tries to get her back into the box before sunrise? Come on, the man's down bad, but in the most lovable way possible. Zenitsu might be a scaredy cat, but when it comes to Nezuko, his loyalty is next level. Honestly, king of wholesome simps. And since we're talking about the new recruits, let's not forget Inosuke. Just like Tanjiro, he spends time recovering at the Butterfly Mansion after major battles. And while he's there, guess who ends up taking care of him over and over again? Yup, Aoi. There's no official romance between them, but fans can't help but wonder, could there be something there? Now let's move on to the Hashira, starting with Giyu and Shinobu. Their first real moment together? That intense clash at Natagumo Mountain. When Shinobu tries to take out Nezuko, Giyu straight up blocks her sword, stone-faced, and drops that legendary line, "I'm not disliked." Iconic. That scene perfectly sums up the emotional gap between them. She's sharp and teasing, he's socially oblivious. But fast forward to the Hashira training arc, and we actually see a bit of growth. After stuffing his face in a soba eating contest with Tanjiro, Giyu randomly asks, "So, what's Kocho teaching these days?" Like, Whoa. Giyu starting a conversation? About Shinobu? That's a big deal. It's subtle, but you can tell. Shinobu's starting to get under his skin, in the best way. And here's the real kicker. In the official fan book, Himejima, the stone Hashira himself, drops this gem. Shinobu looks like she enjoys talking to Giyu, and apparently, Giyu enjoys talking to her too. Hello? Of all the Hashira, why these two? Why so specific? The whole dynamic is giving Grumpy X sunshine, Stoic X sassy, Tsundere X emotionally constipated. It's the kind of slow burn, will they won't they tension that sneaks up on you in a world full of demons and tragedy. A quiet little love story blooming in the chaos. And honestly, we're here for it. Now here's a lesser known pairing that only hardcore fans might know about. Sanemi times Kanae. This duo barely has any interaction in the main story. Like, blink and you'll miss it. But if you've read the official fan books, yeah, things get interesting. In the second fan book, there's a section called Hashira Relationship Dialogue Records. And guess what? Himejima casually drops this bomb. Sanemi seems to like Kanae. Wait, what? That one line has launched a ton of fan speculation. What kind of history did they have? Was it one-sided? Mutual? Just admiration? We literally don't know. But it's enough to make you wonder. What happened between them before Kanae's death? Was Sanemi carrying those feelings in silence? It's a low-key ship, but one with a ton of emotional potential. And honestly, we're hoping future fan books or bonus content give us more crumbs. We're starving out here. And finally, let's talk about the one mutual crush in the whole series. Obanai Ikuro and Mitsuri Kanroji. Obanai grew up with a deep fear and distrust of women due to the trauma of his childhood. But then came Mitsuri, the complete opposite of everything he expected. From their very first meeting, she was just all in, bright, honest, bubbly, and totally open about her life, her cat, her thoughts, everything. And somehow that light cracked right through his emotional armor. Obanai, who'd shut the world out for so long, looked at Mitsuri and thought, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Their connection slowly deepened, especially in the Hashira training arc. When Mitsuri writes to say she's become friends with Tanjiro, Obanai immediately reacts, warning Tanjiro not to get too close to her. Jealous much, but he's not just all bark. In the Swordsmith Village arc, he quietly gifts her a pair of socks. He can't even make eye contact when he says, if they tear, I'll make you new ones. And Mitsuri, smiling softly, just whispers, that's too sweet. We also see hints of their bond in the anime visuals and manga art, sharing meals, exchanging letters, little moments of warmth in between the chaos. It's a quiet, tender love, never fully spoken, yet deeply felt. So that wraps up all the major romantic developments up to the Infinity Castle arc. But from here, we're gonna take a peek into what happens after, including the final battle and even the very last chapter of the manga. Yep, spoiler warning, we're diving into endgame territory. By the time the story ends, the three main rookies, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke, all end up married. Each of their earlier crushes or maybe relationships confirmed. It's revealed in the final chapter that all three of them found love and built new lives after the war. And as for Kanao, in the Infinity Castle arc, she literally puts her life on the line to save Tanjiro during the final fight with Muzan. That moment, it shows just how deep her feelings have grown. No more hesitation, no more silence. We won't go into full detail here, but let's just say the story of Obanai and Mitsuri reaches a powerful and emotional conclusion too. Their bond, once full of unspoken feelings, becomes one of the most heartbreaking and beautiful moments in the entire series. And that's a wrap on the romance breakdown in Demon Slayer. So tell me, which couple is your favorite? Personally, I'm a sucker for Zenitsu's totally over-the-top, no-holding-back kind of love. It's so extra, but it hits me right in the feels. Let me know your favorite ships in the comments. I love seeing which pairings you guys are rooting for. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye!